The penalty at the end, obviously the crucial score, and as you look, luck is going to go with you when your attitude is right in a night like that. You didn't think it was a penalty?
I can't see how it could be a penalty, Mick, because like a couple of weeks ago, Manchester City lost a penalty in Schalke. Do you remember?
Yes,
it was controversial.
Yeah.
And I remember reading the referee's assessment of it, where he said that he thought it was a penalty because the old rule was, or seems to be this year, it has to be hand to ball rather than ball to hand.
Yeah.
Now, I thought the Schalke one was a bad one because the fellow was trying to get his hand out of the way. This guy, the defender was coming out, he jumped, turned his back on it, so he obviously couldn't see the ball, with his arms outstretched, and it hit him on the arm. Now, what the referee was saying, he shouldn't be jumping out with his back to the ball. Well, who's he to say that? What was going through the defender's head, this is my best way of trying to block it, which was to run and get a jump, which you do, and turn your back. That's where you get your best done. So what's he supposed to do? Put his two hands, like Rio Ferdinand said afterwards, what are you supposed to do as a defender? Put your two hands down by your side? You can't do anything. So where do you put your hands?
Well, look at it another way. Not necessarily in that instance, but in a scenario like that, supposing the trajectory of the ball was heading straight for the net and it hit his arm there.
Yeah. So that doesn't mean where the ball is going. Like, it doesn't matter.
No, I understand what you're saying, but
it's either a penalty or it's not a penalty. It doesn't matter where the ball is. Where was the ball going the other night?
I'd say it was going over.
Exactly. So that's your answer.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter.
But in the other instance, you're stopping a goal with your arm or with your hand, for instance.
Yeah, but you have to be doing it intentionally.
Yeah, and that's the interpretation then, I suppose.
What else could it be? If he's not doing it intentionally, then it's an accident.
Yeah.
That happens. It's like when the winger goes down the wing and the fullback comes out to him and he's got his hands down by his side and the fellow whacks it 100 miles an hour and it hits him on the hand. We've seen it's given.
You've seen that given, though.
Yeah. I think it's bad play because how can he get his hand out of the way? And what they're saying is he could go with his hands behind his back. Well, you can't keep any balance if you got that. You're using your arms the way you use it. You know, what I would do at the moment, the way it's gone, because you're talking about the penalty the other night, and there's all penalties all over the place. I think I would make a rule: if there's a handball of any description, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
That cuts everything out. That doesn't mean, does he mean it? Does he not mean it? Some teams will suffer 1 week and they gain the next week, but at least we know what it is.
To a certain extent, that's nearly given at this stage, John. It's very rare you would see a handball that's completely accidental that it wouldn't be given.
Well, I'm not so sure about that.
Right,
No, I wouldn't agree with that. I think it is.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but very often those type of ones are given.
It's bound to happen.
Yeah.
Right. So, like the old rule was, it had to be hand to ball.
To ball. Yeah.
Now, I think that's still the rule.
Yeah.
By the way, so that makes sense. But what the referee's saying the other night, he shouldn't have turned his back on the ball and with his hands up in the air. Well, he's 20 yards from the ball, and if you're trying to block a shot, right, then you throw everything up. You don't intend to hand the ball because you don't know where the ball's going.
Absolutely.
And as you said, the ball was probably going a mile over the bar. Anyway, I think it's not right.
The other thing,
I'm giving you everybody have an opinion.
Absolutely, no, that's what we want. But the other thing about that, John, as you said, the referee said, was it the referee said, or was it the people in the VAR who basically told the referee this is, do you know what I mean?
Well, the referee would make the final decision on it.
He should, absolutely should, but was it a question?
I think, no, but VAR have to do that for the referee to have a really good look at it. Do you know what I mean? Because it happens so quickly. That's what VAR is all about. But it doesn't mean that the referee has to make the decision, what would be considered, in my opinion, the wrong decision. Actually, it helps him to see that the fella didn't intentionally handle the ball. He had his back to the ball. He couldn't see the ball. But
this is a bit pernickety maybe, but my understanding, VAR originally was, if the ref isn't sure whether or not something, for example, was a handball, he goes to VAR. But as I understand it, he was informed by VAR that there could be an issue here, which is extending the power of the people in VAR.
Well, I would extend it totally.
You would?
Yes. Yes.
Do you not have remote refereeing then, effectively? Do you not have remote refereeing? It's not the ref then, that's taking the power from the ref in that instance.
Yeah, totally. I'd take all the power from the referee, as you would in other games.
Yeah, as it does happen. So, for example, VAR coming to a conclusion that the ref mightn't have even spotted an incident and whether or not to make a decision that incident, that's entirely up to them.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, because what's happening at the moment, you see, I think the referees don't like to give the power away, and they want to still be in charge of it. Now, what the guys upstairs say, we want to have a look at that. He might say, no, don't want to have a look at that. Or they have a look and he says, no, my decision was right.
Yeah.
The fellas who, like, the reason they have VAR is for the people to have 3 or 4 good looks at it to make sure that the referee is not making a mistake. Of course, there will be situations where you would disagree, even with VAR, right?
Yeah.
But they're few and far between. The major decisions will be right in what they're doing. That's what the technology is all about. Do you know what I mean?
I do, yeah.
But I think they're the ones that should make the decision, not the referee to say, well, I'll have a look at that again. The referee doesn't see what they see.
Absolutely, and there's definitely a case for that, but as I understand it, officially it hasn't got to that point. That as things stand at the moment, the official position is that the referee refers something to VAR rather than VAR
exactly
starting out.
I'd reverse that.
Right, yeah.
Because look, the reason that they have VAR is to get a better view than
exactly,
we have.
Yeah, of course.
And that includes the referee.
Yeah.
That's what VAR is about. In other words, we'll have a look at it. The referee shouldn't have to agree to that. They should dictate that's worth having a look at, and they should have a look at it at the technical thing, and then say to the referee, that's a penalty or it's not a penalty.
And in terms of the decision, like for example, in the last World Cup, we used to see the refs running over to look at the screen themselves. In the Champions League, we see here the ref is standing there in the middle of the pitch, listening to what he's being told by VAR. So,
yeah, did he go over to see it though?
I don't think he did. On other occasions, I'm not sure. Did he go over and see it actually himself?
Well, then he's given the decision without seeing it.
Yeah, you see, that's the other thing.
I think that's right. Because the referee are like us watching it. He's watching it live, he's watching the space.
Yeah.
We're trying to make a decision from the television screen.
Yeah.
So is he. Yeah. And how many times have we said, oh, I didn't see that?
Yeah, but then you're down to interpretation. Then you're down to that the people in VAR are interpreting that.
Exactly. But if it wouldn't, you'd rather have them doing that, having looked at it 3 or 4 times, than the referee has only seen it once live.
Right. Yeah.
It has to be an advantage to people who are watching on the screen 3 or 4 times in relation to the referee. How many times have you seen it and I've seen it, and they say, geez, I thought that was perfectly okay.
Yeah.
But when you see it on the eyes, oh God, it was over. Look at the thing over the line nowadays. You know, that's part of it. No, it's not far. But you see if something that's happened, an offside decision. There was a decision last night. Remember Harry Kane scored where there was no VAR.
Yeah.
Right now, the linesman would be impossible to see that. He was 2 feet were out over the line or something.
Yeah.
Now, if VAR had shown that, you would say straight away, oh, he was over the line. We couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. The linesman couldn't see it. The referee couldn't see it. So you have to go to VAR, and there will be some situations in VAR. But even after seeing it, you could be a bit doubtful. But at least you have the advantage of looking at it a few times.
The other big decision in VAR was Ajax when the goals, they went back to see whether the ball was out of play. Yeah, that was interesting too, particularly from the point of view of that it was so far back from the goal. Well, and I think it was out of play, but...
Yeah, I don't think it was out of play, because the ball is a round ball, and there was some part would be over and some wasn't.
But even if it was out of play...
Okay, but what we must remember here, VAR is in its infancy.
Yeah.
Now, I think they will regulate it as we go along. And what they'll do with VAR, in that particular situation, there will be a rule that if it goes beyond a minute or 50 seconds or distance or whatever it might be, we have to ignore it.
Yes.
In other words, you don't bring it in for everything. I would agree with that. I don't think you can go back that far. So somebody commits a foul outside the opposing area, which is a bit doubtful anyway, and it goes up the pitch and they score from it. But that's to regulate it. I mean, there's no reason why to say, okay, that's a rule. So there's no point in talking about going back a minute or 2 minutes on that particular thing. Do you know what I mean?
I do, yeah.
See, in that situation, it's quite logical for us to agree that the referee thought it was in play, right?
Yeah.
As it proved to be the case. But it's a throw-in, Mick. You're not going to stop it for every...
That's the point. But even, for example, even if that was out of play, there's definitely an argument, and he may have said it was so far ahead of the goal that it wasn't justified.
That's what I'm saying. I would agree with that. It's very easy. This has to be tweaked.
It does,
right, so in a situation like that, they'll have to bring a rule out. If it goes beyond a minute or whatever it is, then it's got to be ignored. Yeah. That's all tweaking. I mean, everything is like... I'm very much in favour of VAR, as you can see. There's a lot of people against VAR. It takes too long time. It's only starting. I mean, there were some people like Alan Shearer was against it before it was even tried.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like that. Oh, the VAR will do this and it'll do that. It's like the old back pass years ago. Do you remember the back pass?
Yeah, yeah. It's the keeper, yeah.
I remember that. Oh, the goalkeeper will be injured and this. There was loads of people against it till it started. And then it was proven to be correct. Actually saved the game, the back pass rule, because everybody was passing back to the goalkeeper and running up the field. But in this situation, of course, there'll be times where you'll say, well, I don't agree with that. But 99% of the time, even going back to the World Cup, the VAR proved to be right.
Yeah.
There was more penalties in the World Cup than ever before. And I don't think anybody disagreed with any of them because it's happening so live with us and so quick. Like Harry Kane scored last week. I didn't see where he was. It's impossible to see it. The linesman's impossible to see it. But that's what VAR shows it. But it'll be tweaked here and tweaked there to get it where we wanted to be. Give it a chance. I mean, I was watching the television last year when they were totally against it at the crew at the stadium. I think it was the Liverpool match when they played 4-3.
Oh yeah.
But all of them, from the commentators back to the studio. It was terrible, the time was lost and that. And every one of them at the end said, but we'd have to say the decisions were right.
That's what matters.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
And they'll tweak it to stop the time situation. But give it a chance.
Yeah.
And I think it'll improve as time goes by. It'll be, look at the goal over the line thing, for example, with the technology. You have to use the technology. But the referees in my time has always traditionally been against anything that interferes with their authority.
Oh, sure, like anyone, hold on to the power, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.